Showtime.
Welcome back.
Yes.
This is the first time we've recorded in 2025 because the New Year's resolution 2025 public domain one we did previous to the new year. And so we haven't recorded for a couple weeks, but we did get to see each other.
Yeah, almost didn't. I mean, we planned it because I know you wanted me to come to Columbus, and what is that restaurant we ate at before? The German
Schmidt.
Schmitz. So
Yes.
we was going to go to German Village and eat there and go to the book loft where we've
Which
had
me and the fam went to the book loft.
you probably got lost for hours.
Yeah. What? I'm really great with
No, I mean lost
directions.
for hours like in the books because there's so many.
Oh yeah. Well, we didn't really stay in there very, very long. I mean, the girls walked around and, we went through like most of the 357 rooms that they
Yeah.
have. But oh my gosh, I just lost there we go. We then went to a cute little coffee shop right next door. I need to look up the name because they had a London fog, which is tea with cream and,
I don't
I
even
had
remember one next door. I know there's one there's a little eatery with finger foods and basic sandwiches right down the north end of the road where you can
Oh,
see the
are you
highway.
talking about Pistachio Vera?
Maybe. It's like a
Where they've got
little,
like macarons and stuff?
yes, yeah, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, they
Yes.
were closed because we totally wanted to go there
Yeah.
and they were closed. But that's also a great place in German Village. But we went to a little coffee shop. I'll have to look up the name of it. It was absolutely like the best London fog I've ever had. They have like a blend they use and it was great.
Good.
But doesn't top off the spot, right? The spot in Jackson. That's our favorite.
No. Yes. No, I love that
Yeah.
place. I also
Yes.
love Chinese food.
Well,
Speaking of
yeah,
which,
we had some Chinese.
yeah, because I swear, and a lot of our listeners, I don't know if this hits you, everybody around me has been sick, sick, sick. And I'm like, I'm not going to get it. And right before Christmas Eve, started feeling it, went to my family, didn't say anything, but then everyone in my family was sick. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. It knocked me out. And so you said, well, we'll meet up on this day. We'll just go to this Chinese restaurant, come hang with my family. And I remember texting you that morning. I was like, I'm not going to make it.
I know. I was
I
like,
know. You're probably like, I felt so bad.
sad face.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I hate this. And I was like, and then Diane said, hey, she's just like lounging around. She said, I would have went. I'm like, sure you would have. No. She said, next time tell Chris we'll have to do that or go to Florida. And I said, she absolutely would love us to come to Florida. And then she goes into, well, we can't because we got 19 cats. I'm like, then why do you say it? Anyways, she says, you ought to go. You're not sick. You're over it. You're just a little stuffy.
We're
And
calling you out for your man flu.
yes, so I think that's what it was. You didn't say anything to really guilt me. So how do you guilt Jamie without saying anything to guilt Jamie? You just
I didn't.
text.
I was just like, what did I say?
I don't even remember. It's
I
like,
don't think I said anything major. That was
no,
like,
you're
okay,
like, fine,
feel better.
screw you, whatever. That's cool. I mean, I ain't seen you in a year or whatever. That's fine.
Rude.
So, but dang, it was a good Chinese restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's one of our favorites. Absolutely one of our favorites in Ohio. Because down here in Florida, there are hardly any Chinese buffets.
What?
Like, there's one in Pace that we go to if the girls have like games that way. We're like, oh, we're going to travel to Pace. We'll plan it. It's a good little space there. But no, and there's like a little Mongolian barbecue or buffet type thing that's like a Chinese restaurant in Destin, but it's nothing compared to like, the one in Gallipolis or the one in Chillicothe.
Yeah, no, it was awesome.
Yeah. So it's good to catch up. But now we're back on the grind with the podcast, and we're going to talk about some prize winning authors and people in writing with the Pulitzer
The
Prize.
Pulitzer. Oh, that's not it. No.
It's not Pepe Le Pew. No, not that.
This is an annual award. So wait a
Yeah, but
minute. So there's like the Nobel Prize, the Pulitzer Prize, and the Pulitzer Prize has to do with arts and music and not like
well,
fiction writing.
it is. I think let's just talk about where it came from because it originated with journalism and writing. Yeah, so this is something which it hasn't came out for 2025, but we do have in the notes some of the winners from 2024.
Yeah, we got a few months before we'll know.
Yeah, I think it's announced in May or something like that. Speaking of that, so the Pulitzer Prize is an annual award that holds a significance to this type of prestige in writing.
And I
You hear
remember
like
his name because your husband will appreciate this, Joseph Pulitzer. So I think of Joe Dirt. I don't know why, but just how my brain works. Dylan will
Joe.
get
So
it.
you think of the word Joe, you
Joe
automatically think
Dirt. I
Joe
do.
Dirt.
I love that movie.
So this award is specifically awarded to an American author for a standout work in fiction with stories also in like journalism and photography, and there's all kinds of different categories
Yeah,
that
drama.
they.
There's a ton of categories.
Oh yeah, yeah, like even music and stuff like that. But it's a preference for stories that delve into American life,
Hmm.
and that's its focus. This Pulitzer Prize was established in Columbia
Columbia.
University, yeah, with the first, like you said,
Joe
Joseph
Dirte.
Pulitzer, Joe Dierte, was awarded by the university on the recommendation of the Pulitzer Board. So there's a board of people who decide, which I want to get into later because it gets a little controversial how this board selects things and some of their criteria.
Yeah. So also you'll hear like the will, because this is part of his will, so you have the Pulitzer will. And geez,
Mm-hmm.
this has been around for over 100, yeah,
1917.
like over 100 years.
Over, yeah.
Yep, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
almost 110 years, which beyond fiction, the Pulitzer Prize, like I said, has other different things that are in the public discourse, like arts and journalism, stuff like that. But you mentioned the will, so why don't you talk about the will, the Pulitzer? You'll hear the phrase "will" or Pulitzer will, and this is referring to what?
That is because when he passed away, he wanted to set up some kind of, award system to honor journalism, since that's where he came from. And so it was in his will that he allotted so much money for this to happen yearly.
Yeah, yeah. And he envisioned that this would, recognize like outstanding contributions to society throughout like these fields of journalism and
Journalism,
writing and promoting
literature.
these and literature. He was promoting like a high standard. But of course, in the time of 1917, hold on, I gotta sneeze.
Yeah, bless you. Keep it in, keep it in. It's organic. Yeah, I'm sure it wasn't, bless you, bless you, bless you. It wasn't so much about music or film back then, because it was 1917. So I'm sure they expanded as they went on. I mean, as they get into color film, audio, records and stuff like that.
Yeah. I want to pause on the side note of my sneezes. They're super loud, and my kids and my husband have said, "You just recently started sneezing that loud." And I'm like, "No, I have always sneezed in a loud capacity."
Oh,
And so when we went home to Ohio, I spoke with my mom. I said, "You have known me the longest. Please tell them how long I have been sneezing loud." And they're like, "Always." I'm like, "Thank you."
I'm the same
She's told.
way. And I get mad afterwards because I sneeze like I did this morning, and I'm like, "Dude!" And I get mad and stop it. And I got to fight with myself. Well, because I'll
Why do you get
sneeze
mad?
23rd. Because I can't stop. It's like this morning I probably sneezed 20 or 30 times in a row. It's like a cat. Chew, chew, chew. I don't just things set me off.
You're funny.
I was
You
taking
probably are
sorry
allergic to your
superior.
cat.
Do what?
You probably are allergic to those cats.
I am to a minute degree. I do have some cat allergies, but nothing that like really makes my eyes. But this was Superior Vocal Health throat spray. I was like where I told you this morning. I was like, man, I just got over. I feel like I still got it. My chest is hurting. I got mad about that. And as soon as I sprayed it, because it's strong, it tickles my uvula or something, I don't know. And then
Your
boom,
uvular? What is that?
my uvula, whatever. That it looks like a boxing bag in the back of your throat.
Oh, your uvula? Yeah. Got it.
Your uvula, something like that.
Yeah.
I should know that being a coach, but yeah,
Right?
uvula, uvula.
Know the anatomy. Jeez, don't you get
Yes,
critiqued for that all the time?
I do. I have to. I got to study a lot about anatomy just to please. Sorry, Dr. Denizoglu, you got to know your anatomy. Like, okay. So
What? Yeah, what do the prize winners get, Jamie? What do our contestants get when they come on down on the prize of the Pulitzer?
you do have that there are 23 Pulitzer Prize categories, and in the 22 of those categories, the winners receive a 15,000 cash award and a certificate. But only the winner of the public service category, I can't even talk today,
Well, that's
category
not
of the
new.
journalism competition is awarded a gold medal. But let's talk about this gold medal for a minute, because it's
Mm-hmm.
not truly gold, which don't bother me.
Yes,
It doesn't bother me
bothers me.
because I love silver though. I'm a
Silver. But if you're giving me a flipping gold medal, it better be all the way gold because I feel like if you're giving me a silver medal plated in 24 karat gold, you're cheating me.
I
I
know.
can't even go
It
sell this
does. I
thing.
agree with you there. I'm like, are you going to be that cheap? You can give 15 grand to these other people, but you can't make a solid gold metal. I feel like the kid back in the selling newspapers, and you give him a nickel and he would bite it. I remember these old like
To
to
see if
see
it
if
was
it was
real.
real. Yes, I'd bite that metal. This isn't real? I want something else.
Mhm. Yeah,
So
and it's
yes,
24 karat. Isn't 24 karat like, isn't that kind of a little thinner too?
I don't know. Like what,
Maybe like
18
super
karat,
yellow.
24 karat? I don't even know what the difference. I love carrots. Wait a minute, I'm going off in another direction. Oh, I love carrots. Best way to eat carrot is you mix them in that blender and you get the juice out of them. You have some apples. You have apple juice and carrot juice. And now I need to go to Kroger and get me
That's why
some of
your
that.
skin's red, is because you have too many carrots.
That's beets. I don't eat beets though.
Although, fun facts, if you eat too many of a certain type of, is it a shrimp or something? Or a certain type of, no,
You
no, no,
you
no,
get short.
no, no. If you eat too much, oh my gosh, I'm going to look this up. But there is a certain thing that if you eat it because your body can't digest it, your skin will turn blue. What is that?
Colloidal silver.
Yes, colloidal
Yes.
silver. Yeah,
Yeah, if
that's
you
it.
drink too much. There was that guy on like Oprah or something. And
Yeah, too
speaking of
much.
which, now
You can't reverse it.
we're bouncing around, and I used to talk about red face. Back when I played with my guitarist now, Scott, when we first met, like 91, we're playing in a band. The drummer's sister, Anita, says to me one day, and don't edit this. She says, Jamie, are you on cocaine? I said, why would you ask me that? She said, well, your face and nose are always super red, and you bounce off the walls. I've been asked that several times. Yeah,
Valid point.
I've never done cocaine, but the funny thing is, I was at my mom's and she had these old home videos, and there's a video of me playing. I'll have to send you a clip. I'm running around, bouncing like a freaking piece of popcorn going off. I jump up and do jumping splits, and I'm just doing crazy stuff. You
You know,
know,
something I learned about you?
I'm nuts.
I had no idea that you played the saxophone.
How did you not know that? How did you learn that?
Mm,
How did you learn that?
I
I
have
haven't
ways.
played for years.
Yes, I did not. I mean, I knew you had like piano stuff.
Yep.
Did not know you played the saxophone, and I shall not reveal my source.
I played alto, sax, and marching, and no, I played tenor and marching, alto, and concert and jazz. And then when I
Yes, and
played the clubs,
who were you in the band with that I would have ever talked to?
I have no clue. I really don't.
Jay?
Oh my God, what is wrong with me? I totally forgot. I can't wait to get Jay Willis. He's another author on here because we used to do this thing. It was Mark Colley. He'd go, wee, and I could never do falsetto, and we were always copying Mark, and that's where I learned falsetto. All right.
Yeah. All right. Back to the Pulitzer Prize gold medal. That's not quite gold.
Now you understand why I can read these notes. Did you read the notes, Jamie? Yeah, but they already went through my head. How did I know you played saxophone? Duh. So, all right, back to the Carissa's being gypped because she didn't get her gypped. Is that the right word? You're
Yeah,
not
but how am
happy
I being gypped?
because you didn't get your gold medal. It's gold
Well,
plated.
I don't do journalism, so I wouldn't even receive it. I would just get a $15,000 check, and
Well,
probably
that's
not
true.
because I don't write about anything that is, talking about American life. I'm talking about supernatural in my books.
Yeah, but it's in America.
Although my nonfiction version of the thing I find in America may be up there.
That's true, and
Yeah.
I think it should win. All right.
Okay. All right. This Pulitzer Gold Medal. This is iconic for the Pulitzer Prize. I mean, and I didn't realize that not everybody got one. Only that specific
I
category.
didn't either. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought everybody got it. But it's one of those things that when you look at it, you're like, and I don't know if I put this. I think I did. Okay, so in 1819, this is a year after the prize began.
1918.
What did I say? 1819.
1919.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. You just caught my yeah.
Dyslexic it. In
Dyslexic.
1918, I dyslexicked it. A year after the prize began, the medal was designed by a sculptor Daniel Chester French and his associate Henry Augustus Lukeman. Now, fun facts, something I didn't put in here. French is the guy that created the monument for Lincoln,
Really?
the Lincoln Memorial in Washington.
Yeah.
I didn't put that in there, but that's who designed that, the French guy. He's not French, but the last name French. So I will, can you, let me see here.
I'm trying to share your screen.
Well, no, because it's not on my screen. It's on my other monitor back here that I'm reading.
looking at it. I mean, I'll tell you what's on that if that's what you need.
Well, can you share can you flip your notes around real quick, or will that?
I tell you, yeah, no, I can do that. So
and then
you can talk about it.
Yeah, anybody that's on YouTube, they can see.
Where did I go? There we go.
Yeah. So after
Get it
the
out. Get it out of
prize,
the ring light.
there, perfect, right there. Yeah, right there. So on the front, we have the one side that displays the profile of Benjamin Franklin, and then the other side is a husky, bare-chested printer at work, his shirt draped across the end of the press, and end of the press there, which was created by Gutenberg.
To try to
Insert
make you
laugh.
laugh. Yes. So, but you
I
can
think it's
find this on YouTube or Google. Or
yeah. So listen, and you look at this. Did you hear the description though? I didn't write this description. This description is on the Pulitzer Prize webpage that says the other side is decorated with a husky, bare-chested printer at work. His
when I
shirt
read
draped
it, I was
across the
like,
end of the press.
okay, and I just giggled and went on.
I know. I was like, that's like he doesn't even look husky.
But maybe he was back in the day.
I know, but it's just so weird how they described it, and I'm like, I don't know. It's just weird. But anyways, so now we know that when they used the printing press, they were shirtless.
I would have been like a smooth-skinned, hard-nippled man.
Whoa. Whoa! I don't see any nips in that
You'd have
pic.
to rub the coin to see if it was there or the prize. I wonder how big it is, honestly, because I'm thinking a coin. If they're that cheap with gold, it's probably like this.
Wow, I'm gonna touch that one. I'm just gonna move on. So, surrounding the printer are the words. Gosh, my notes just canceled. Read the words because my notes.
Okay. Oh, where are we at? On the American for disinterested and meritorious public service rendered by an American newspaper during the year. So it shows you that it really expanded because it was focused mainly on journalism.
And that's one of the things that I feel like writing back then, and we've talked about this in previous episodes. Oh, my light's not even on.
It also says like the name of the winning news organization is inscribed on the Franklin side of the medal. The year of the award is memorialized.
Memorialized.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
write that down. Well, it's
Write it
memorialized
down.
on the other side. Okay, here's my answer. The medal about 2 3/4 inches in diameter
Mm-hmm.
and 1/4 inch thick is not solid gold. 1/4 inch thick, and you cheap arses can't make it solid gold.
Right?
I would rather have a silver medal if you're going to do that. I'm sorry. It is silver, 24 karat gold plate, and presented to the winning newspaper in a brown paper bag. Might as
No.
well be.
Right? Here's a coin. I
It
put it.
is.
I put a bow on it.
It is an elegant cherry wood box with brass hardware.
So I didn't see this. I shall look it up. But I wonder if you win this one, you only get this and you don't get the 15,000.
Oh, surely they got to give you something because it'll be like, it's all I got. They might have won 100K or 30K, or maybe it was like they won
Yeah,
$1,482 because to
but
cover the price of the coin.
on their website, I mean, this
Or
is the thing.
14,000.
On their website, it says there are 23 Pulitzer categories. In 22 of those categories, the winners receive 15,000 cash award and a certificate. So only 22 of them get that, and only one get that. It doesn't say all 23 get this plus one gets this.
Yeah, but that's also probably more if those are more of individuals, like in a fiction author one. So when you're presenting this to a news organization like New York Times,
Oh,
yeah, so they don't
you're
really
right.
care about the 15 grand. They're looking for the prestigious award because that's how it began.
Right. And you're so totally right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
All right, let's talk about criteria for selection.
Which is crazy because there's really not much. Let me turn.
Well,
Nope,
I'm
nope.
going to enter then.
All right. So criteria for selection. This process focuses on the emphasis, like I said, of American life and cultural significance. So when I was going through and seeing some of the past winners, a lot of it has to do with social injustices, people of different cultures and their experience in American life, a lot of biographies of people from America. So, yeah, I find it very interesting, but it makes it very, very narrow as far as the options of people who can win the Pulitzer. So, nominating jurors for the prize are appointed by the board in each category. They are asked to judge independently and collectively and to submit 3 nominations. Under Pulitzer's will, which we mentioned before,
Mhm.
the board is charged with the responsibility and what?
Authority.
No, I touched my notes and it went like it literally like okay. Anyway, under Pulitzer's will, the board is charged with the responsibility and authority to accept, submit, or reject these nominations and in many extraordinary circumstances offer their own. So it's like they They create this board of jurors. They're like, give us 3 nominations. And they're like, you know what? We don't like your we're going to get our own. Why don't you just do it yourself anyways in the first place
Absolutely.
and waste these jurors' time? Each nominating jury should submit the board 3 nominations in its category. These must be listed in alphabetical order. Oh my gosh, they're like, oh, make sure you alphabetize them. I feel like we're doing a reference page on an essay.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder 23 categories, so I wonder if they're submitting 3 nominations for each category per juror.
I think they have 3 jurors for each category.
Okay.
Basically, I'm reading this, like a
Okay.
lot of I pulled a lot of this from directly on the Pulitzer's website, which is not a lot, just so you know. If you go there, and I have the show notes, I put the link for the Pulitzer in there, but I also went to other sources to try and find information to like expand my knowledge on what this is, but it's
No,
very
I mean,
big.
this makes more sense because of like, hey, you got 23 categories. I may not be experienced in music, so I
Mhm.
could just be picking something, even though they do say you got to include a statement as to why the jury believes it merits a Pulitzer Prize without expressing a preference among the 3.
Right.
So, it's
Right.
like you're in the center. You're not like leaning towards, my cousin wrote a book, so I'm going to put
Yeah.
them in there.
Yeah. I went through and found some notable winners that highlight some of the famous people we might know in literature, like Ernest Hemingway, Mark Twain. So Mark Twain, 1905.
For Huck Finn,
Yeah.
The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. Yep.
Yeah. So that's interesting because we said this started in 1917, right? Yeah. So this means that Mark Twain's literature was entered after
Yeah.
the fact. So it doesn't have to be maybe written in that same year. So he wrote this in 1905. So therefore, it wasn't submitted until like later.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was awarded for the
So
Adventures
even
Back.
with Hemingway, which was he may not have won. You're saying he may not have won in 1953 for The Old Man and the Sea, but that is the year he wrote it.
Right. Yeah. This is just talking about when the book was written.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which get it together, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Anyway, they can submit, so this is the band, the Rolling Stones or Judas Priest. Oh, they should have been in there 20 years ago, but yeah, maybe now.
Yeah. Edna Ferber. This was the first woman to win a Pulitzer Prize in literature. Oh no, it wasn't. I'm lying. Scratch that. Rewind.
She was not the first female to win
No,
the Pulitzer
no.
Prize. But she
Rewind.
was one of the notable early female winners for. I
Yeah,
haven't heard of this novel. So big. Go ahead. Sorry.
oh no, Edna Ferber. Yeah, she was awarded So Big. It's a novel that explores the life of a strong-willed woman in the early 20th century of America. And even though she was not the first female to win the Pulitzer Prize in literature, she was one of the more notable ones. So I went and looked who the first one was. The first woman to win the Pulitzer Prize in literature was Jean Ostrovsky, who won the prize for drama in 1918. So pretty early on
For her play.
pretty early on for her play Why Marry?
Why not?
The first person of color to win the Pulitzer Prize in Literature was Gwendolyn Brooks, who received the award in 1949 for her book of poetry titled Annie Allen. Brooks was also the first African American to win a Pulitzer Prize, making it a significant milestone, obviously, in American history in literature. Period. So we've talked about this in the past when we bring up women in history who are writers like Louise Mary
Okay.
Alcott. So we've talked about a lot of these people, women of color, men of color, just people in general society when things of the social norm didn't really allow them to come in. So it's interesting that in 1949 that there was a person of color to be able to win the Pulitzer. So apparently the Pulitzer was like, you know, okay with ruffling a few feathers at the time. But her work explored themes of race, identity, and the African American experience, and she's celebrated for one of the most important poets of the 20th century. All right. So I went in here and I'm like, well, there had to be some controversy because when I was thinking with women winning it so early and people of color getting it so early in what I feel like the general white male persona would have been not okay with, I was like, there had to be some controversy, right?
There had to be something like a Kanye and a Taylor and a Beyonce. I know, Taylor won this, but Beyonce deserves the best
Right?
award. There had to be that. They were doing the
Yeah, there
Nobel
had to be a
Prize.
little bit of stage drama back then.
She deserves it for that book.
Ugh, Kanye.
Got Kanye.
All right, so speaking of that, diversity and representation. So go ahead with this one.
And I gotta agree. Critics have pointed out the lack of diversity among winners. I'm surprised she won in 1949. As
Well, that's what,
horrible as
yeah,
we,
I was very surprised, but I mean, not that she's not deserving, but I was very
she
surprised.
absolutely deserve it. But yes, the way you look back at our history, it's yeah. So particularly, diversity among winners in terms of gender and race. While progress has been made, there have been ongoing discussions about the need for greater inclusivity and recognizing a wider range of voices. Even to this day, I mean, I wouldn't mind going back and just researching to see, how even it's based.
Yeah, I mean, and they have. If you go on the link that I put into the show notes, you can literally go on there and see all of the winners since 1917. You can click on the years. You can go by year. You can go by category, and you can see all that information.
Well, let's continue on with this. So, nominations and selections. The selection process has occasionally faced scrutiny, particularly when a highly regarded work or author does not receive a nomination or win. This can lead to debates about the criteria used and the subjectivity involved in judging literary quality. And
Now,
I'm sure, that's probably every year. I'm sure someone
yeah,
feels like, why did I not win this?
yeah. Well, so something about this one that just came to mind was when Beyonce didn't get the because you're bringing up Beyonce, I might as well bring
Yep.
her up in this one. But when you're bringing up the fact that she didn't get a CMA award,
Hmm.
and I know a lot of people like her country song, but that doesn't mean just because you make a country song that you're guaranteed because a lot of people make country songs. Does not guarantee them an award.
Yeah, here's how I feel about that. So many people are complaining about her, what are you doing? Stay in your own lane. You're
Yeah,
an
she can go wherever
artist.
she wants.
Yeah, absolutely. She could do an opera album. It's nobody's business. She is an artist.
Hmm.
But just because you're Beyonce does not mean you don't deserve to win that, or you deserve to win that award. I don't know. I haven't listened to it enough, but I'm sure they're like, well, this is because, I came in and I'm a woman and I'm, into R&B and pop and you just don't want me here.
Which is that, yeah, and that's a crappy way to handle it, to be honest. And I don't think those words technically came from Beyonce, but
No,
I
it
could be
didn't.
wrong. It probably came from her
Team,
Kanye like
other people.
supporters. Yeah.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. It doesn't matter if your group of people liked it. Like your normal followers, you gotta look at it. Your normal followers are be like, this is so great. I love that she can cross over. But then you cross into the country world, and maybe the country culture is like, we didn't like it.
Yeah.
Or maybe like, yeah, we liked it, but we like this one better. We like this
Yeah,
song
and I
better.
mean,
But
and I'm
either
not
way,
even saying it's not even, jaded, because it could be a lot of people like, how dare you come over here so we don't.
I don't think so
I've
because I
heard
feel like
some country people. I've had some. I won't ever name. Students like, man, did you hear Beyonce put out a country song? I'm like, so what? You know what? She could
yeah,
do a
she put
metal
I
song
wasn't
for all I care.
the majority of the album country. I didn't listen. And
Yeah,
I'm not
I mean, it was a
so
country album, but it was a heavily pop influence. So I mean, and it's fine. You're crossing. Let's look back if we want to get real. I remember when Leanne Rimes, when they had the movie Coyote Ugly, she done a pop record, which I thought was really good. Her country, it was Leanne Rimes, right? Yep. Her country fan base ate her up. It's like, how dare you switch over to pop? Or, oh, there's
Taylor
another.
Swift did the same thing.
Who was it?
Taylor Swift did the same thing. She was originally country.
Yes, but she came after the fact. It was easier. There was a couple country artists. I can't remember this guy's name. He's a country artist, and then he did a full album as a rock star named Chris something. I'm going to get smacked for this. Somebody remember it. They were going to do a movie, and it fell apart, and people were like, that's horrible. And it was
I thought they were
good.
making like is it like Chris Stapleton or something like
No,
that? Or
this is a kind of a stocky country singer with a bald head. I can't remember his name. He's like one of the biggest country singers in the world. I'm getting smacked for this
really
because I
bad.
know this.
I'm really bad about that because I don't know all the I haven't listened to
Biggest male
country.
country singer in the world.
Oh, really? That's what you put into your chat GPT?
It ain't Trace Atkins, because he ain't the biggest one in the world.
No, that's only going to give you to like from 2023. That's not going to give you updated information, by the way.
Yeah. We'll continue on and then it'll kick in and I'll remember.
Yeah, I think I know who. Does he have tattoos and stuff on his face?
No, Garth Brooks. Garth Brooks.
Really? Garth Brooks?
Yeah, it was
That's
Garth.
not Chris.
No, 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 no. He did an album as a persona, and his persona's name was Chris something.
Are you talking about, isn't that his real name or something?
I don't know. Garth Brooks' rock star persona is Chris who? Chris Gaines. The
Okay.
Life of Chris Gaines. It had a greatest hits album that was rock, and then and it bombed. It's just
Which is weird because when you say Chris Gaines, I'm like, that sounds totally country.
yeah. But it just shows you people get too into their genre, and like, how dare Beyonce come over? How dare Leanne Rimes do this or whatever? You're an artist. I support you doing whatever you want to do. All right.
All right. So back to Pulitzer Prize. It almost sounds like you're saying Pulitzer Prize.
Pulitzer Prize.
What are the criteria for judging the Pulitzer Prize? So when I look this up, it's very interesting that there really is no set criteria for judging the prizes. It's literally the definition of each category are the guidelines, and
Yep.
it's left up to the nominating jurors and the Pulitzer Prize board to determine exactly what makes work distinguished. I'm like, well, that's interesting. And it was very hard to go in there and try and be like, well, what actually does this mean? It wasn't like very distinct. It was very
Yeah, that's kind of loosely based because, like, if you're reading a fiction novel, you're like, it's just not my thing. I didn't really like it. You could be biased towards it. They should have some type of criteria, to make it hit home. But
yeah. All right. Some awards in the past have sparked controversy due to the political themes or the social commentary within the works recognized. For example, that channel societal norms and or even address sensitive issues may draw criticism from specific groups. Like if you're writing, which I feel like is like, really? Do we have to judge everything?
yeah,
Because if somebody's putting something out there and they win an award, it doesn't mean that the person who awarded them believes in that opinion. It may be that they literally just feel they did a great job expressing their ideas. You know what I
yeah, and
mean?
you know what shocks me is moving on because my brain's constantly moving. Rejection or lack of a prize. There have been some years where, like, in the drama category, there hasn't even been a prize awarded. So, people were wondering, whether the judges felt there were no worthy contenders or if the threshold for excellence is set too high. Surely there's got to be something, unless if you say there's no criteria and you didn't win an award, well, there is criteria. It has to reach this level. So, there was nothing in drama that really sparked this,
Right.
that really deserved it.
So this is something that I was like, so winning the Pulitzer Prize, what do you think that means for authors?
I mean, it feels like it could elevate your career, more
Mm-hmm.
visibility, more sales, potentially influencing future projects, credibility, networking. But I wouldn't know. I haven't won. I don't think DNA or Siren's going to win a Pulitzer
Mm-mm.
Prize.
Mm-mm.
So,
No.
hey, now you have to agree with me.
It's not in the category of American's life. I told you my stuff's not going to hit that either.
But it was based in America. But
Yeah,
it
but
was
it's
fantasy. All
yeah,
right.
it has to be on American life. Like it is a little specific to that part.
If anyone could win a Pulitzer Prize among Vendera authors, Anne McGee. She wrote Annie's Attic. Like a wartime fiction novel. So God rest
Maybe
her
we should
soul.
look into that and see how she's won awards before, but maybe we should look into that and see if there is anything that.
That we could submit.
Mhm.
Oh, wouldn't
'Cause
that
I
be
don't know if it has to be like
wonderful?
it have to be written in that year or what.
Yeah, you know what? You bring that up now. That makes me wonder if they haven't had a category win for a particular year. Have they caught up to it now? Like with earlier on, who do we say was it? Mark Twain, 1905, and they didn't start until 1917. Maybe now it's per year, and you can't dip back beyond that year.
Mhm.
So
It is possible.
it is possible.
It is possible. All right. So let's talk about some of the 2025 or 2024 because the
Yep.
2025 Pulitzer Prize will be announced on Monday, May 5th, 2025 at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 2 p.m. my time. So we shall mark the calendar and be like, "Oh, who's won the Pulitzer?" and we'll give them a shout out.
Yep.
All right. So if you go to the website, like I said, you can literally see any year. But I wrote down some that are specific to writing, not because
Yeah,
there is
because there's a lot of
photography.
yeah,
Yeah, there's photography.
photography,
Yeah,
reporting.
yeah. Editorial writing for 2024. This is David E. Hoffman from the Washington Post. Jeez. And commentary. Where and
Vladimir Kara-Marza, contributor, The Washington Post.
yes, this is for his passionate columns written under great personal risk and from his prison cell.
Wow.
Yeah, warning of the consequences of dissent in Vladimir Putin's Russia and insisting on democratic future for his country, which is interesting. So he's not American, but he was a contributor to an American journalism paper and wrote it in that. So is that so you don't have to be an American to write it?
I mean, as
But
long
it's
as
printed
it's
in America?
talking with American, American themes.
Yeah, but this isn't an American theme. This is the life and descent of Vladimir Putin and
Yeah,
his
but look how it affects America. So maybe that's how it was able to tie in. I mean, our
or he was
relationship with Russia.
well, maybe inserting wanting to have an American democracy in Russia. I don't know. Okay, that's an interesting one because I'm like, I thought it was only for American writers, like in American life. Feature writing. This is Katie Engelhart, contributing writer for the New York Times. She did a portrait of a family's legal and emotional struggles during the matriarch progression, dementia, and sensitivity probes, and the mystery of a person's essential self. So this seems like more of an in-depth writing of someone going through what like their life with dementia, I guess.
And you'll continue on with these next two because you say that National Reporting has two winners and you had used them both as sources in your essays and current events classes.
Yes. Right. So whenever you're doing college essays and you're doing, especially I did a class with current affairs, and one of the classes I also did wasn't a current affair, but I had to go and use current events to relate to old events in the past. Specifically, you can only use a few different sources when it comes to current events. Reuters is one of them, and the Washington Post is one of the other ones. Reuters for an eye for serious accountability of stories focused on Elon Musk this past year and the automobile and the aerospace business. So those stories displayed remarkable depth and provoked official probes into his company's practices in Europe and the United States. So they got a prize for that. So there's a second winner in this category, which is interesting because when you go on the website, you'll see, if you click on a year, you'll see all the winners. But to the right side, you'll also see people who were nominated that didn't win. But, it's kind of cool that you see the other people that were listed in there. But there were two winners in this category. And the staff of the Washington Post. So I wonder how do the staff at the Washington Post and the people at Reuters, do they get $15,000 each? Or because these are kind of like journalism, they just get a medal? How does that work?
Probably when I'm thinking, I may be wrong, but since it's a staff of, journalism in a newspaper, probably not the 15,000 price. But
Yeah, so
sure,
do they give
I
out
want to research
several
this because
medals?
surely they're too cheap to make two gold medals since they're, gold
Yeah, but
plated.
no, but all these categories are in all these categories are fall under journalism: editorial writing, commentary, feature writing, national reporting. These are all
Yeah,
journalism.
they would probably just get 15,000 and have to split it.
I'm guessing that they each get a medal for like Reuters gets a medal, Washington Post gets a medal, and then once you hit the other categories like books, drama, and music, and photography, and all the other ones, those get the cash because those are individuals.
Yeah.
I don't know.
This is national reporting. So yes, this would be the gold medal, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. So they must do. Yeah,
So like it's cheap to make these things. We just put silver on the
they're not
inside.
that expensive. We might as
Yeah.
well just give it to multiple people.
They probably got a whole drawer full of them.
Yeah.
It's like, we
Well,
got to inscribe it.
yeah, they have to put the name of who they're giving it to on the front.
Yeah, but they send it off to Wish and then no, just fits.
Timu.
Yeah, Timu. Yes.
Staff on the Washington Post won that they won. So this was for a sobering examination of the AR-15 semi-automatic rifle, which forced readers to reckon with the horrors wrought with the weapon, often used in mass shootings in America. So moved by the board from the public service category, where it was also entered and nominated. So that's interesting. So it's probably like one of those things. It was one of those ones that wasn't nominated, but the board nominated them. Because remember, if they don't like what the juror selected, they can collect or select something themselves. Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, now into our world. Our world of fiction, darling. Fiction.
Yep. Night
Yep.
Watch by Jane Ann Phillips. Knopf. A beautifully rendered novel set in West Virginia's Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum in the aftermath of the Civil War, where a severely wounded Union veteran, a 12-year-old girl, and her mother, long abused by a Confederate soldier, struggle to heal. Yeah, that sounds like a really deep
That sounds like Anne McGee.
book. Yes, absolutely.
All
History.
right.
Go
History.
for it.
No Right to an Honest Living: The Struggles of Boston's Black Workers in the Civil War Era by Jacqueline Jones. So, yeah, this is a breathtaking original reconstruction of free Black life in Boston that profoundly reshapes our understanding of the city's abolitionist legacy and the challenging reality for its Black residents.
Cool. And the biography category had 2 winners last year. So we had
Yeah.
King.
So, yeah, this is probably one of those ones where they pick one, but then maybe the board chose
Yeah.
another.
So then
Yeah.
I'd like to know that. So you do have high criteria. What is it? So King of Life by Jonathan Egg. I'm assuming this is published by Farrar, Straus and Grove.
That's I put those parentheses are their publishers.
Okay. A revelatory portrait of Martin Luther King Jr. that draws on news sources to enrich our understanding of each stage of the civil rights leader's life, exploring his strengths and weaknesses, including the self-questioning and depression that accompanied his determination. So it
Mm-hmm.
shows you, I mean, I would like to read this book because, everyone looks up to Martin Luther King and look what he's done for our history. But here is a man who struggled, he questioned himself. He dealt with the depression. He's human.
I am. And then the other one that was selected in this category, which I wonder if it's this one category, do they split the 15,000? So many questions.
Well, they save money on those medals. I'm going to keep saying that. The Pulitzer Prize are going to be like, we're going to
Game
share Always
Pulitzer.
Right podcast, but now no, veto them because James.
That is a controversy I think we need to discuss with Pulitzer. You need to do a full gold coin.
Yes.
Make it valuable.
If you want to do 2 categories, then make one in silver and give them the silver medal and give this the gold medal.
I have a new definition for MAGA. It's going to be make all gold again. All right, this next one that in the same category, in the same subcategory of biography was Master Slave Husband Wife, an epic journey from slavery to freedom by Ilan Wu. This is Simon and Schuster. This is a rich narrative of crafts and enslaved couple who escaped from Georgia, 1848. Light-skinned Ellen disguised as a disabled white gentleman, and William as her manservant, exploring. Wait, what now? White?
Exploiting assumptions about race, class, and disability to hide in public on their journey to the North, where they became famous abolitionists while evading bounty hunters. This will be a great movie.
Sometimes when I'm writing, I'm like, did I write that wrong? Because I was like, light-skinned Ellen disguised as a disabled white gentleman, and William.
Yes, it looks like you wrote it right. So
Okay,
she portrayed
it's him and then her, and I'm like, I did this right. Yeah, so that's interesting. Okay. So then a memoir or like the autobiographies. This one here, this Lillian's Invincible Summer. Liliana's Invincible Summer. A Sister's Search for Justice by Cristina Rivera Garza. This is by Hallgrath, is the publisher for that one. And this is a genre-bending account of an author's 20-year-old sister murdered by a former boyfriend that mixes memoir, feminist investigative journalism, and poetic biography stitched together with the determination born of loss. So that's interesting.
Sweet. And now we move on to poetry. And we just had an interview with a poet. I'm not going to tell you his name because I want you to go back and watch all of the Always Right podcasts. So you have to find out when he was.
Who he was and what he does. Yep.
Yes, I'm sure I'm saying this wrong, but Trippus Poems by Brandon Sam. Oh, Sam. Okay, I need to squint. Look like Sam with my bad eyes.
Georgia Review Books.
And this is a collection that deeply engages with the complexities of the poet's dual Mexican and Chinese heritage, highlighting the dignity of his family's working lives, creating community rather than conflicts. Yes, that's unique. Mexican and Chinese heritage. I dig that.
Yeah, this next one. This one is general nonfiction. A Day in the Life of Abed Solomon. This is The Anatomy of a Jewish Tragedy by Nathan Thrall. And this is Metropolitan Books. It finally reported an intimate account life under the Israeli occupation of the West Bank. told through the portrait of a Palestine father whose 5-year-old son dies in a fiery school bus crash when Israel and Palestine rescue teams are deployed.
They're delayed by
Sorry,
security
yeah. Thank
regulations.
you. Again, so the Israeli and Palestine rescue teams are delayed by security regulations.
And we're living that
None of
every
this
day.
is, but none of this is like, this is where I get confused, because like this is where it says it's supposed to be American life. This is an American life, you know. And not like,
But
listen, that
maybe
doesn't mean that they don't
Nathan,
deserve it. What I'm
yeah, I
saying
mean,
is
maybe there are
like
certain
criteria.
Like I said, with the Russian situation, maybe it's because how it relates to America and you know, the turmoil, Ukraine, Russia, America. Maybe Nathan Thrall, maybe he is literally, you know, a Jewish American. Maybe he lives here, and he reported on this. So
Yeah,
he
maybe.
could be an American author, and he's the one that wrote this, you know,
Okay.
this nonfiction book.
I know you're saying that, but by definition, what the by the definition given on the website for Pulitzer Prize, it says, going back to my notes, okay, this is a renowned award, has been awarded since 1917, marking high points in literature, beyond fiction, that also covers categories of journalism, blah, 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 and public discourse. And hold on, fast forwarding here. Oh, yes. And it is an annual award that holds significance because it's awarded to an American author for standout work in fiction with a preface of stories that delve into American life, which it says fiction. And when you Google this, it'll say that the Pulitzer Prize, also known as the Pulitzer Fiction Award, like they have different ways, and they always say fiction. I'm like, I'm seeing a lot of nonfiction here. I'm seeing journalism, I'm seeing biographies, I'm seeing
Well,
autobiographies.
think about it though, Carissa. I mean, in 1917, they didn't have 23 categories, so they probably grew, and maybe, you know, they looked at it and then they thought, well, you know,
I know they're
this,
growing, but they still call it fiction. Like even in the
yeah.
thing, they're
But
listing
even when you
fiction as
just
a.
read general nonfiction, that's the first thing I thought. Was like, wait a minute,
Oh, yes, yes,
yes,
but that's the thing. So the only fiction I'm seeing is like the plays, the music, all the different things that they do in there, poetry, you know, fiction stories or whatever. But like journalism in itself wouldn't be considered fiction.
no,
It would be nonfiction to an extent. Well, so that's where that would be like, is its perspective. So is that considered fiction?
I don't know. I mean, when you look at like Night Watch, even though it's fiction, look at the story. You know, it's a novel about, you know, a lunatic asylum and during the Civil War. So it's kind of like Annie's Attic by Anne McGee. It's not real life. They put out the movie, not that this has anything to do with it, but like the Titanic, we don't know that's how it went down. You know, this was a story, it was made
It
up.
was based on true events.
Absolutely. So this could be, you know, the fiction that they have are based on historical events.
Yeah,
You
but
know,
that's
so
not. But I just
you
that's
know,
something
this
I'm
is
going to
something
add.
we're going to have to take up when we call them about this cheap metal.
Yes, when I start, you know, my little, you know, like you need to start giving these winners real gold.
Yep.
Like, what if they have to use this in the rations whenever, you know, whatever? I'd like to sell my Pulitzer Prize.
Yeah.
It's pure
Let me
gold.
buy it. Nope, this is still
Nope,
silver.
it is silver. You can't even melt it down and make it into something. Anyways, all right,
Alchemy.
right. All right, so this has been a good episode on the Pulitzer Prize, and we will touch base in May to see who the winner is at 2 p.m. Central Time.
I'd love to do it from that Chinese restaurant in Chillicothe
No,
live with you, but
I have, and
blame
the
it on
time
my
you
cat.
visited me once.
I would have been there 15 times by now. I come, let's go down. Well, you know,
You've
hey,
not
want to watch
visited
the
me.
cats? Hey, watch that
You have
cat.
visited me once. You go to Diane, unless she's a fictional character, because, you know, I'm pretty sure she doesn't exist.
Somebody said that the other day. I don't think she's, not just you.
I've said it several times.
I think it was Brian. He's like, if you don't let me meet your wife, we're done with this relationship. I said, take it up with her. She's
He's
couch
like,
work.
I can't meet her. I can't take it up with her.
Yeah, I haven't even seen her in like 6 months. What are you talking about? She's buried in the basement. Cut that part. Cut that part. All right. So if you want to report me to the law or you want to follow us, check out alwaysrightpodcast.com, where you'll see all of our links. And I want to mess all this up, but we're on Spotify, YouTube, Apple something, and this and that. Yes, and all of that. She remembers all of that. I don't. But
Amazon Music. Yep. Yeah, but then if you want to write to us and talk about, you know, like your frustration with the lack of gold in the Pulitzer Prize winnings, send us an email. Send it to alwaysrightpodcast@gmail.com, and we will make sure to forward that to the Pulitzer Prize board.
yes, you'll back us up.
Yes.
We need 3 submissions. just like they do. So we need
Mhm,
3 of yous to
mhm.
back us up, and then 3 of yous, and then I'll get Guido to break their legs.
Okay, I might have to edit that out. That was a little bit cultural
It
stereotyping.
was, wasn't it?
Yeah. I'm gonna delete that one out.
You know, it's so funny. My buddy, vocal coaching for my Michael Rocchio, he's Italian. He's like, I want to get Guido to break your legs, but I guess he's allowed to say that.
Yeah, you are not.
Maybe I'm a Vandera. Maybe I'm Italian. You never know.
No, you're from the little red people. Your face is all
Oh, I
red. Your
am.
skin's all red.
I'm from the Red Tribe.
You're from the red tribe. Yes. All right. Thank you for listening. And as always, I'm author Carissa DeLay,
And I'm Jamie Vandera. I forget who I was for a minute.
right? And until next time, always right.
Always right.